This is the Walter Bacon podcast where I highlight some of the most practical and game-changing B2B AI startups. Today I'm with my friend Adir Ben-Yehuda, the CEO of Autonomy AI. And Autonomy AI is an AI-powered platform designed for product teams to make real changes to their systems without relying on engineering. Adir, it's great to have you today.
Thank you, Walter. It's great to be here.
Well, let's just get into the problem. Why don't you describe the main problem that you guys are addressing?
Yeah, so I think if you look at the overall problem of a lot of the companies today, and more specifically software delivery companies, right? Companies that deliver software, they in the last year they all spent thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, some in some cases millions of dollars on coding agents, but they're all still stuck in the same place. They're all still need to be more competitive. They need to deliver more. And they will all report that their engineering team became more efficient by 10, 15%. But when you also start asking the hard questions, did you hit your roadmap? The answer is no, we missed it, usually by 30 to 40%. Do you still have backlog items? The answer is yes, we still do have backlog items. And when we come in, what we help businesses is build a full delivery layer on their existing code bases. And with that, they can be more efficient, take market intent, client intent, competitive landscape understanding, and actually enable PMs to deliver the intent to production in a faster way, right? And when you were not able to deliver faster, it means you're inherently losing to your competitor if they have more employees, right? If they can move faster. The other ramification, every company out there is spending so much money, they increased costs instead of reducing costs in order to deliver a feature. So today they're not paying employees, but they're paying Anthropic, they're paying OpenAI for that matter, right? So that's another point. But it all comes down to the three fundamental things that I think most capital businesses or capital markets are built on, right? Companies want to deliver fast, cheap, and in high quality. Yeah,
You're
go ahead.
giving a great competitive advantage to companies then by giving them that ability to deliver faster. So yeah, talk about that a bit.
Yeah, so it's deliver faster and by who, right? So if you think about the workflows that are happening today, I'm a PM, I'm in charge on a product line in my company in a specific software. I go ahead, get to my office in the morning, I have some coffee, I look at my mix panel, amplitude, what have you, look at call recordings, look at the market landscape, trying to figure out what I'm going to do in the next item in the roadmap. And then once I'm done with this, I'm going to the UX engineer. They design it. The UX engineer say, okay, this is the design. We go to engineering develop, and going back and forth. This entire process takes 2, 3, 4 weeks, sometimes even a month and a half, right? Like a sprint. That's no longer the case, right? I can digest all the data. I can have my coffee, see everything, go directly into Autonomy AI, our product phase studio, build everything there. By the time I'm done, before I go back home, I have the feature ready. Pull request. Next morning, an engineer comes in, reviews the pull request, it pushes into production.
So cool. So what about the showing the real features out to the public instead of doing a diagram or like a just a static screen? You can actually push the features out, try them, see how they work, and then go from there. So talk about that process.
Yeah, 100%. I like to give the metaphor of maybe some of the audience here doesn't know that, but back in the days, Walter, you remember we had those like cameras which were film cameras, the Kodak ones, right? So you took one snapshot and you had 32 photos, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then your mom used to drive you to the mall, 1 hour, you get the photos if you're lucky, 1 hour, right? But if you took one photo, you took one photo. It is what it is, right? Um, and effectively, that's how software companies are working today. We have one feature, we take it out, and we're done, and we can't like really test more out. It takes us more time. We're moving those organizations to the digital camera era. You take 500 of them, you don't even care, right? Like with the various things, you pop it in your laptop or even in your phone. You can see the photos, edit them, and move on with your life. And that's the difference. All of a sudden, software organizations, specifically PMs, there can generate 4 or 5 versions on the fly. They can push 4 or 5 versions and do A/B testing really quickly. It tremendously changed the operating rhythm for them.
Wow, that's a game changer. That's a game changer. So what are some of your customers saying? I've seen a lot of logos on your website. I've heard people say that they're using Figma less. What are some cool testimonials from some of your customers?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is their ability to control their own destiny. That's the one I love to hear the most, right? All of a sudden, we as PMs, we as a product team are able to control our own destiny and our own numbers. The second thing we hear quite often is, and we always ask, the ability to actually hit your roadmap. Companies that are working with us, and Autonomy has today over 170 companies and logos that are working with us. We just launched the product a year ago, and those organizations are reporting that since they started working with the product, a quarter in, they actually hit the roadmap items time and time again in a very confident way. And the third part is they're actually removing a lot of the other products. Yeah, Figma is one of those products they don't need anymore because you can actually edit and design everything on your existing code base. There is no reason to have this drift and go out to different products.
Nice. And it's easy to use. So like you said, product designers, you don't need to be an engineer to get the changes done. It's really, it's all visual, right?
Yeah, so it's all visual. The code behind the scenes will be written like a senior engineer will write. The place you do need engineers is to review the pull request, right? We are playing nice with the organization, want to make sure that the code quality that we're generating will be the right code quality, but that's the flow.
Mhm. Now there is a bit of automation though, like you are empowering some agents to act and do some things, just not push it into production, but aren't they doing some corrections? Like they see some problems and they go ahead and take action?
Yeah, if you think about it that way, our end users and the users that we're working with, right? They have the ability to have visual validation. They input, they see the feature, they can play around. It works, it doesn't work. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of code that needs to be written, and this code is not unlike other coding platforms. It's not new lines of code. We reuse your existing code bases. Inherently, you have some baggage there, and inherently, you have some spaghetti code and things like this. What we do behind the scenes is we actually understand the code. We fix the faulty code lines when we want to compile everything, meaning show the visual aspect. There are some bugs there, so we fix them, and we kind of build compounding memory for the organization to get better and get faster. But it all comes down to say that the end user does not know anything about it, does not need to know anything about it. They get a finished product. I always use the metaphor of like, instead of see how the sausage is being done, we want the sausage. And that's like exactly how we focus on.
Nice, nice. Well, you have some recent milestones, right? So autonomy AI for MCP and also discovery mode. Can you talk about those a bit?
Yeah. So let's talk about the MCP concept. We spent a year to build Face Studio. It's a web interface. It's beautiful. A lot of people like using it. But one of the things we saw across the organizational workflows is you sometimes engineers want to send things back to product people. And they have a huge challenge with this. So we decided to launch Face Studio MCP, and MCP sits in your Cloud Code, Codex, Cursor coding platforms. If an engineer finishes a task, they can send the test directly to Face Studio and have the PM review it visually and do the last mile. It basically changes the workflow completely and accelerates significantly delivery. The other point that's like a huge milestone that we're launching in mid-August, so get ready for it, is discovery mode. We have the ability to connect to over 1,000 data sources and data lakes and digest real-time data from your market. So again, think about your amplitude, mix panel, call recordings, Zendesk ticket, what have you, and the ability to digest this according to your product KPIs and generate features according to them. So I want to make sure that to increase by 50% the people that are checking out in this button. Read all the data that I have, generate 5 features for me. We'll do everything from you for you end to end.
Nice. Well, who's an ideal prospect for you guys? Like, is it a size of company or is it, size of the department or who's ideal for you?
Yeah. So the biggest, we work with software companies that have software components into them. I think where we see the biggest pain points are companies that have 100 employees and above. That's where we're starting to see the drift from the original code base. That's where we're starting to see the source of truth of code starting to be propagated to different departments, kind of losing aspect. And that's where we shine, right? So when we come to those companies, we actually help them resolve a big problem.
Cool. Well, if people want to learn more and get in touch, how should they do that?
Well, first of all, they can go to AutonomyAI.io. We have a free playground there. They can connect they can connect their existing code base as well and start working with this like this. Like literally within 10 minutes, we read all the code base, we understand everything, and you're good to go. And obviously, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. I'm happy to reply. I'm happy to answer and connect. That would be great. I think at the end of the day, when it's not a question, but in a high level, when you look at where companies are at today, when people are listening to this podcast, think about, hey, are we able to become more competitive? They need to think more about not what tools we're buying, but what workflows we have, and are those workflows aligned with the tool we're buying? And that's exactly what Autonomy set out to do: build a better workflow.
Nice. Well, Adir, this has been great spending some time with you and learning more about Autonomy AI. So I look forward to watching the success and growth of the company. And thanks for spending the time today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Walter. It was great to be here.